Hello, welcome. We're going to do an afternoon detox, a little bit of resetting the core. I'll wait for a few people to jump on. My name is Caroline. I've been a coach and an athlete. I'm a mother and I'm a business owner. I'm going to turn the vibe down just a little bit. So we're just going to root and rise. So we're just going to root our feet in. Walking along the mat, shifting weight into hip to hip. I always start off with the feet and the hands. Always pay attention to your connection. We're going to root our feet in nice and deep, changing the angle of our feet as we walk with our hips, not shifting too much out of the range of our feet underneath our hips. Now go ahead and stack your spine nice and tall, stand up nice and tall. This is a workout, just standing nice and tall. Walking directly under the hips, we're going to come up onto the toe, and then back down, and we're going to walk back where it's balancing, slowly stepping backwards. And when you get your foot canted out in the back, we're going to come and put the weight on that hip, front hip. We're going to lift up onto that ankle, waking up the ankles, slowly letting down. Widening the toes, gripping the mat. Everything that we do today, we are going to do 5 rounds of. So I've gone back and forth once. Using your feet, we're going to wake up the toes, pushing them into the mat, balancing our ankles, pulling our core into surface. Well, I don't really want to use surface, but keeping the shoulders nice and squared off. Telling the calves, the gastrocnemius muscles to wake up, waking up the balancers. Now go ahead and lift the toes up as we descend towards the front of the mat. You're going to start with your heel. So we're going to dig that heel in, rolling it back and forth, just a little bit left and right. And as we step forward, we're going to come right to the center of that heel, and we're going to lift the toes up towards the ceiling. And we're going to do the same thing, digging the heel in with the other foot, going up onto the toes, and exhaling as you're down. One more step. This is our second root. We're just going to inhale and lift, and exhale, and slowly descending backwards, balancing, waking up your body, your core. Always freedom in movement. If you're going to be here, you don't want to feel stale. We're waking everything up, so hit every muscle. Picture all the muscles and hit all the ligaments in your workout. Try to disperse your energy out into every muscle and spend energy. We're going to push the toxins out of our breath, rising up onto the toes, pads of the feet, balancing down. Last one, inhale, lift, and exhale, balancing slowly down, lifting the toes up to the ceiling like so, walking on the pads of the feet. Good afternoon, I'm Caroline. I am a fitness coach. I've been coaching for at least 11 years on paper. U.S. military, I played sports and stuff, so I always tried to stay healthy, never had any surgeries, always kept it making sense. Switched sports 3 times a year, and no overusage and injuries because I don't think that's healthy. Okay, here we go. That was our last one. We're going to bring our feet right underneath our hips. We're going to stand with our heels, hips, shoulders aligned. And then we're just going to stack that spine so that our shoulders are pulled up towards the ceiling and our spine is nice and lifted. And we're just going to inhale and lift our arms in a nice big circle. Inhale, lift. And as we get our hands together at the top, we're going to press our tips of our fingers together and open our hands. Waking up our hands and our fingertips. And as you come into your heart center, we're going to press the fingers together and we're going to walk the heels of the hand down to those back pads. And we're just going to do a little massage, waking up our chest muscles, waking up our back muscles. See how they're firing? Waking up the hands, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Inhale. And then pulling the fist in, exhale. Pulling that core in, and exhale, opening up the hands nice and wide. And here we go, we're gonna do our first rise, and we're gonna drop our knees, start to warm up our hips a little bit. Dropping down just as low as you feel comfortable, you have strength for. And we're slowly gonna stand up, keeping our chest lifted to that front wall. Hands back together, we're gonna do 3 more after this one. Coming down into chair pose. Sitting back like we're gonna sit in a chair, coming down into chair pose, firing that lower sacrum to keep the chest lifted. And here we go, inhale, lift. Stacking nice and tall, hands together, heart center pushing, firing chest. Slowly sitting back in a chair pose. Hips stay back, knees don't go over toes. And keeping that chest lifted, inhale, lift. Hands together, sitting down in your chair, toes lifted towards the ceiling. Waking out the body, afternoon detox, big inhales. Slow exhale. Last one, we're gonna come right up to center. We're gonna do some balancing moves, and we're gonna wake up this hip. So we're gonna stand on our left foot, and we're slowly gonna take that right hip in circles. Inhaling on the front, and exhaling on the back. Lifting those toes up towards the ceiling, waking up all the balancers in the ankle and the knee and the hip. So here we go, inhale, lift. Going with whatever your range of motion is. Last one, focusing on the balance. As we start to lose our strength, our balance goes. So we're just gonna go ahead and come back into center. Nice little mountain pose, shoulders nice and lifted. We're gonna do some circles. We're gonna do 3 each direction. Inhaling in the front, exhaling in the back. Last one, and then we're gonna switch directions. Nice lifted torso. And then other direction, 3. 2. Last one. There we go. Now we're going to balance on our right foot. Knee, ankle, hip, coming to balance. Lifting the toes up towards the ceiling. We're going to start circles to the front, starting smaller and getting bigger as we go. Working with our range of motion. Inhaling, exhaling on the back. Last one. Here we go, we're going to come into mountain pose, and we're just going to inhale. As our hips come in line with our ankles, we're just going to inhale and slowly drop back into a chair. And lift. Hands together, heart center. All right, here we go. We're going to step back into a high runner's lunge, and we're going to do some more balance work just in a, so whenever you're doing a lunge, you're going to take a nice step backwards to support the hips. And then you're going to look forward, and you're just going to make sure that you have the right knee and ankle alignment. So we're going to step forward, and we're going to keep our weight forward until we look down at our knee and our heel, and we're just going to lift those toes. And you see how you're losing balance already? Okay, now we're going to set our shoulders right above our hips. And we're going to just keep that back leg as straight as we can keep it. Bent, that we're going to drop the heel. Exhale, drop. Lifting both sets of toes. Inhale, lift. Pushing that back pad of the foot directly into the ground. Feeling the weight in the front heel. And then dropping the ankle. Using our balancers to make sure that we keep balance. Hips, knees are aligned. And lifting. And slowly dropping that heel. We're getting ready to do a down dog in a little bit. So this is just waking up the Achilles tendon and waking up the calf and waking up those feet so that when we get down into those positions that everything is already kind of awake. That was our last one. Now we are going to step forward with this back foot and we're just going to meet that, but we're going to send energy to our core and we're going to step forward. Nice. So we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So we're just going to step back for comfort. And then we're going to step forward for alignment. So we're going to step forward, making sure that our knee doesn't go ever over top of our toes. Never. That angle adds all the stress to here. And then you have all these little balancers in the feet. We don't want to do that. So we're going to square off our hips to the front of the room. Back foot is canted, like 20 to 30 degrees. And we're just going to come up onto our heel, up onto the pad of our toes. Inhale, lifting. And exhale slowly, just letting that heel come to the mat, lifting those back toes up to the ceiling as you let the heel drop. You'll feel more in your calf muscle whenever you lift up, and we're working our balancer, so we want to lift up the toes. Inhale, lift. 3 more. Inhale, lift. Detox. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, slowly drop that heel. So this is called a high runner's lunge. It activates the hips. You're pulling your glutes together to help keep you balanced. Warms up the hip flexors. This hip flexor's been opened. Calves, Achilles, ready to go. So now we are going to open up the lower back a little bit, and we're going to do a forward fold. But I have some lower sacral issues, and I would like to show you the best way for anybody that has had a career where they use their lower back and they have been in flexion. This is flexion. And even if you just work a lot and you stand in that position and you feel that stress and tension, what we're going to do is we're going to lower flexibility, mobility, and we're going to work on being able to stand and hold our back upright for longer so that we don't lose our strength and then get hurt. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our feet hip width or shoulder width apart depending on your comfortability. And we're going to watch ourselves, and we're going to watch our tail feather pop out. That's what we're going to work on first. We're going to keep our knees slightly bent. We're just going to push our tail feather back. Weight is in the heels, and we're just going to rest here on our quads. And we're just going to let that lower back open up as we push the weight into our hands. Open up the fingers. And we're going to do a couple cat-cows here. So we're going to drop the tummy like a cow, like a sagging back cow. And then as we exhale, we're going to pull that tummy into the back wall. We're slowly going to C-shape. You feel all that tension in the sacrum slowly start to dissipate. This is our first forward fold, a nice slow rotation. And now we're just going to slowly drop the shoulders. The tummy down to the floor, sticking the tail feather out and behind you. And inhale, lift, C-shape. And inhale, drop the tummy. Last one. And exhale, C-shape. Great work. Hi everyone, I'm Caroline. I am a fitness coach, and we're just doing a nice little afternoon detox. That's our last one. So now we're going to come right back to center. We're going to have nice straight back, and we're going to have knees slightly bent. Now we're just going to walk down to our shins. This is called it's a half forward fold. So you feel the tightness in your hamstrings. We're just going to chill out here until they open up, because a part of lower back problems or tension comes from tight hamstrings. So we're going to lift up these toes on the mat, and we're just going to use either our knees or our shins, and we're just going to slowly move the weight in our feet transfer the weight to every part of your feet, keeping the toes up. So I'm just going to wait for those hamstrings to open up, taking 5 breaths. And watch, as you close your eyes, watch just the toxins fly out of your body. You will visually be able to see it. We're going to go 3 directions. So we'll do 6 breaths total. Each direction, you're going to go in a half moon circle all the way to the tippy toes and over to the main knuckles, over to the small knuckles, keeping the toes nice and wide. Wait for that hamstring to open up. 2 more rotations to the opposite direction. You should feel that lower back open up now. Toes are lifted towards the ceiling. Now we're going to drop down to our ankles. Now this is where we should trust ourselves to either grab a mat or stay here or even go up a little bit higher, but we're going to release the tension in this lower back. So however comfortable you are, keeping that knee slightly bent, you're just going to let your head hang. You might shake a little bit. Just tighten up your knees or loosen your knees a little bit more and keep more of a shape, because that still is a stretch in a different part of your glute. As you straighten your leg, it's more of a hamstring stretch. So we're going to wait for that hamstring to open up. I'm going to go ahead and straighten my legs and push the weight into my hips. I'm fairly advanced in flexibility. I'm going to wake up my feet, wake up my back, use the mat for stability, and then I'm going to ragdoll it out. So if you're able to do all of these advanced steps, you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you can practice on your own. This is what I do because I'm starting over after having a baby. So I really want to get a strong core, be balanced and flexible before I start a strength program. So one more breath down here, and we're going to slowly do a halfway lift. So we're just going to come right back to center, weights distributed to both feet equally. We're going to walk up the shins. Take that back and keep it nice and straight. We're just going to chill out here for a second, take a nice big deep breath. And exhale, we're going to walk back down our shins, slowly letting that lower back open up. Using the mat, using your shins, using your knees, we're just letting that hamstring open up. We're going to be here for 2 more rounds. We'll do 2 more rounds. And come right back to center, lifting up the toes, walking up the shins. We're going to straighten the back out. Inhale and slowly walking back down. That's 3. We have 2 more. So go ahead and feel the liberty to move or squat down. Distribute the weight into your back. Whatever feels like it needs attention or some activation, we're going to activate and release. Here we go. That was like 2 breaths, so here we go, last one. Now, since we're already here, it only makes sense just to push our feet out a little bit wider. Now, this is whenever you can play with the strength or the angle of your knees. So we're just going to walk from left to right, slowly back and forth, releasing that lower back. We're going to use the mat for stability. We're not going to hang yet until our body is ready for that and those hamstrings are ready. Shaking the head, yes. Shaking the head, no. Slowly stretching out the different parts of the hamstring. So we got that middle part, but now we're working on the inner groin. Shifting the weight from one hip to the other hip. Now we're going to walk up our shins. Slowly bend our knees. Ankles come in first. Toes second. Ankles. Doing a little bit of rotations. And then we're slowly going to dip down. Inhale, lift. Rising the chest up towards that front wall. We're going to come up to mountain pose. We're just going to stand in mountain pose, lifting the toes up to the ceiling, lengthening out the spine. And push the hands together, activate the spine, latissimus dorsi, activate the chest. Thankful and grateful for this form, this body, and this health it is well. There we go. We're going to come up into a warrior pose now. Since we did that high lunge, our hips and our hamstrings are at least ready for that. So we're going to do some groin work and we're going to do some hip work. So we're going to step forward, put the weight in that front hip, and we're going to step back as far as comfortable. We're going to keep a 30-degree tilt on that front back foot. So just equal wherever your strength is at. Now the important part for this warrior pose is for you to turn your hips to the front wall. Shoulders, hips, wide. And we're going to take this front hand and we're going to lean out forward, and our back hand is going to go back behind us. And we're going to turn our chest towards the side wall. And we're going to push out, shifting the weight, knee over heel, forward. Into that front glute, lifting the toes to the ceiling. And then slowly we're going to lean back. And we're going to lift that front arm. We're going to windmill back, open up this whole side body. So here we go, we're lifting our toes for balance, sending energy to our core, our center. Here we go, there's one full round. We're going to come back to warrior. Push out, leaning that weight in that front leg, getting out more comfortable, never taking the knee over the toe, slowly windmilling up, grazing the leg with that back hand, opening up the side body, lifting the toes for balance, activating those balancers. 3, 4, inhaling as you come forward. Shifting the weight back over the hips and opening up to windmill. We're slowly going to shift our weight forward, twisting the hips down towards the front wall. We're going to hold back into a lower runner's lunge because we're going to do some groin work, and we're going to stretch this hip flexor right here, just balancing on the pad of that foot, slowly lowering the ankle, but we're balancing on just the pad, just this part of our foot back in the back behind us. We're slowly working on this forward tilt. You can feel the stretch in your lower back. We're going to inhale and lift that ankle up, and exhale, drop it down. Slowly getting more of a lunge position, because we're going to come down to the ground. We're going to open up, and then we're going to do a lunge, a low lunge, and open up this hip flexor, and then groin stretch, hip stretch, same time, okay? So 2 more breaths, just letting that Achilles open up into this deeper lunge. And here we go. Slowly, using your knee, come down and support that lower back with this hand, reaching down towards the mat. So here we go. The mat's now our stability after we take it off our knee. And we're slowly just going to drop the hips. Not too low yet, because every exhale is going to get a little deeper. So here we go. A nice low lunge. Let me get a little bit more of an angle. So we're keeping our chest open, our hips are down. We're opening up this hip flexor here. So you should feel that stretch in that hip flexor. 2 more rounds of breath, because this is actually activated glute right here to help you not stretch over. So 1 more breath. Exhale, detox. Drop that back knee. We're slowly going to cant our hips back, keeping that toe curled underneath the shin for support, but we're also going to open up that foot. We're waiting for this hamstring. Take your time, flex, and point. This stretch right here is going to help relieve any back pain. Right here. So we're going to come back and forth in between this stretch. We're going to inhale. Exhale, pull the tummy in, detox. And we're going to inhale and we're going to come forward, watching the angle of this front knee. So if you need to move that back knee down, go ahead, but we don't want any over extension there.
dropping that back foot nice and flat, waiting for this hip to open up. Exhale, slowly tilt back into a hamstring stretch. And inhale, hips towards the mat. Exhale, tummy to the back wall, pushing backwards. Slowly waking up that hamstring. Inhale. Chest to the forward wall. And exhale. Staying here for about 2-3 breaths, rolling that heel back and forth, rolling the ankle. Perfect. We're slowly going to come out of this stretch by coming forward and putting both hands by our ankle and pulling that front leg back behind us. Now we're going to come into a tabletop before we do the other side and do some cat-cows on the floor. So knees and hips aligned, shoulders and hands aligned. So we're going to be in this proper alignment. We're just going to drop our tummy as we inhale. Drop the shoulders, drop the chest. And as we exhale, pushing the toxins out, lifting the spine up into a C shape. Rolling the hips towards the knees. Pushing the body away, hands wide. Nice job. Way to support your body. Exhale, dropping the tummy. Inhale, lifting. 3 more. One more. Good job. We're going to come right to center. We're going to equal out our straight back, and we're just going to go around in circles before we do our first child's pose. So putting pressure on your wrists and your hands, rolling out your hands. Remember, the ground is a great masseuse. Using your body weight only, that's all you really need. Just shifting the weight into your hands. Pulling your hips back a little bit, feet flat. We're going to tuck our toes before we go back. But right now, we're just going to get our bodies used to being in this forward position after standing. So we're going to put some hip pressure in our hips. And here we go, first child's pose. So we're going to take our feet, we're going to tuck them up underneath our shins. So feet are tucked on the shins, heels together. Knees directly under hips. And we're going to come back slowly, waking up those feet. And you'll feel the tension release. We're going to take 5 breaths, and we're just going to slowly use our body weight, however you need, to open up those feet. Rolling from one knuckle of foot to another, letting those open up the I don't really remember what that, anyways. We're visiting the ankles and Achilles and toes right now. Your feet shouldn't be shaking. You shouldn't be feeling anything but a release every time you take an inhale, exhale. So 2 more big inhalations, filling up every part of your lung, and then massaging all of your organs with your exhale. Okay, here we go. Flattening the feet. Straight out. We're going to push our hips back, having our hands underneath our shoulders until we bring our chest down to the ground, pushing out into our first child's pose, connecting third eye to the ground. Rolling the elbows into the ground. So roll the elbows, hands wide, pushing away from you. Visualizing nice, clean, cleansing air coming in your lungs and detox city coming out of your mouth. side. We're gonna do our high runner's lunge. So we're gonna use the ground for stability. We're gonna step up with that right foot, come up onto our elbow. We're gonna tuck that heel underneath the toe like so in the back. And we're slowly gonna come up into a low runner's lunge. We don't have to do the high one, just go ahead and kick your foot back. Here we go, turning our chest towards the ground. Slowly gonna let that front hip drop. So, see the proper alignment here. I have the knee. I'm activating this glute by pushing this heel in. I'm keeping that back knee slightly bent. I'm working with this toe ligaments in the foot, and I'm letting that heel open up as I'm pressing into the ground and letting that hip flexor. With every exhale, I'm just saying relax hamstrings, relax hip flexors. Shifting the weight, lifting the toes. Here we go, we're gonna drop that back knee. And we're gonna push our hips back. Over top. Right over top of our knee are our hips. I'm a little bit more flexible on this side. So exhale back. Pull that tummy in, please. Thank you, exhale. Bless this day. Go ahead and flatten that back foot. Letting that hip open up for however long you want. Just exhaling as you push back. Pulling the tummy in. Sending some relieving tension messages to your brain. Say relieve the tension in my glutes and in my hips. Coming forward, keeping that proper alignment, dropping the hip down, foot flat. One more. Inhale, slowly tilting forward. And back. And as we come forward, we have 3 points of contact here on the mat, so we're slowly going to pull this foot back behind us, not anything crazy. Now, I know I missed Warrior 2 on the right side, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that real quick because I really want to do the lean forward and lean back to open up the side body, so sometimes that happens, but I caught it. Here we go. Front forward, front weight in the front hip, stepping backward with comfort, slowly pushing out into a nice comfortable distance for your warrior pose. So I like a low pose. I like to get into that groin, keeping that back foot either 30 or 40. You can have it at 90, however you like. We're gonna wake up that groin, pulling that knee up to the front wall. We're gonna lean forward, or put our hand forward, our right hand forward, and we're slowly gonna shift the weight into that heel in the ground right in front of you. So we're gonna shift into that heel, wake up and lift the toes up to the ceiling. And exhale, we're slowly gonna bring our weight back over our hips and slowly open up that side body. Dragging the left arm down the leg. And inhale. Leaning forward, coming back to center, tilting back, opening the side body. One more. Shifting the weight in your feet, finding your balancers, opening up the side body. Now we're going to windmill back down, slowly dropping down for 3 points of contact, coming back into a low lunge, dropping that knee, pulling the foot back behind us. Now we're going to do our first downward dog, but before we do that, we're going to do 5 little detox breaths. So here, join in. You don't have to have a mat for this, just a towel or something for underneath your knees. So we're just going to push our weight back. Feet are going to be nice and flat. Hands directly underneath the chest. We're just going to exhale. And we're gonna go into a push-up position and then either do a push-up or not. So we're just gonna come in and then exhale. Let the weight into the mat, inhale. Exhale, hips back. Inhale, pushing into the mat. However you'd like to do your push-ups. Or stay in a plank. Three more. Last one. Okay, we're gonna come into tabletop and we're gonna tuck our toes underneath our shins, and here's our first downward dog. Getting comfortable with this pose. The most important thing is to wait for the Achilles to open up. So we want to have our heels up off the ground, knees bent, feet squared off with the hips. And we're slowly just going to pedal out our heels. And they should be pretty relaxed. They should be pretty opened up. Pedaling your car, coming up on the toes, waking up all those ligaments. Back into the heels, doing your little dance. Now here we go, we're gonna drop both heels down to the ground at the same time and exhale, exhale, pull the tummy in. And inhale up onto the tippy toes, hands directly underneath your shoulders. There we go. Now we're going to take a nice little walk. Nice little walk to the top of the mat. Feet going to be a little bit outside of the hands, which are right directly under our shoulders. And we're slowly going to find what angle's right for our feet. We're going to drop one knee down first, keeping it directly under the hip. And we're slowly going to let our hips open up. So as soon as you're comfortable with your angle and where your feet are, shifting the weight from knee to knee. Coming into a nice little squat down. Just gonna wait for that groin to open up, using the mat for stability, using the knees, pushing into the hips, letting the hips come open. Letting the weight shift back into the heels. If you can do a full squat, lifting the toes towards the ceiling. We're gonna keep that chest lifted. We're not gonna relax into it quite yet. Sit up nice and tall. Activate that core, keep that chest lifted. If you're a race car driver, practice doing some side tilts, or just do them and relax. We're gonna lift your chest up. One more. Lift that chest up. Good job. Exhale. Inhale. Go ahead and put your hands down on the mat right in front of your knees. We're slowly going to take one knee forward and use that elbow. We're going to shift the weight from one hip. This is a mobility exercise. It's really important to use your body weight to let you be flexible. I don't know your flexibility level, but being able to squat down like this and get down without your hands will add 10 years to your life. Just know that. So being able to stand up like that. Here we go. Using the mat. Pushing our weight into our hands and into our hips. Waking everything up. Allowing for proper alignment. slowly lifting the hips. This takes a lot of strength. If you can't do it, that's totally fine. Just get into a half forward fold, keeping your knees bent. Keeping your knees bent. Using the mat. Take your hands to your feet. Slowly walk up your shins. Align everything. Toes, heels, knees, halfway lift. Inhale, exhale, walking down the shins towards the mat. Second forward fold. Should feel a little bit more release in those hips and the hamstrings. I hope that your back feels better after this. We're about to take a seat on the mat. After 2 more rounds of breathing. I'm so glad you guys joined me today. Sunday fun day, yay! If you guys don't catch this live feed, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's on my About Me on my page. It's Team Falcon 8. Exactly how it sounds. Last breath. Now, anytime you do this motion and you're in a yoga class, please hips back first, okay? Don't just try to use flexion to stand up for a root and rise. So what you want to do is you want to have your hips, your middle of your body, down until you can feel the weight in the hips. The hips are taking the stress, not the lower back. And then we're going to lift. Inhale, lift. Inhale, lift. Waiting, shifting. Hands come heart center. Hands come heart center. Lifting up the toes. Here we go. We're down on the mat. Gonna do some floor work. So whenever you sit down, and if you feel anything that is not comfortable quite yet, take your time releasing your spine, because we just activated that lower back. So we're just going to do some windmills here, or windshield wipers. Wherever your heels are most comfortable, making sure you're paying attention to that joint. And by doing this, we're shifting our weight into that glute. So we're just waiting for our hips to open up. We're going to do some wide angle stuff. We're going to do some groin stuff on the floor. A little bit of happy baby, a little bit of reverse pigeon. But we want to send some energy into our hips. And the angle of your knee really, honestly, it depends on how big your muscles are. You really want to pay attention to comfort. Anytime you do hips, it's the biggest ball and socket joint in your body. It's the center of all of your strength. So take time on your hips, releasing that. Now I'm going to go ahead, and my hips are nice and warmed up. So I'm going to make sure there's not a hole in my pants. Heels together, and we're slowly going to drop the knees towards the mat. Leaning back right now, we're just letting those hips open up, C shape, and bringing in the core. And then we're going to eventually sit up over top of our hips. But right now we're waiting for this groin to open up. And then we're going to push off this mat and sit up tall. So go ahead and send energy, and go ahead and think about doing that, stacking the spine over the hips. Here we go. Stacking the spine over the hips. You'll want to C-shape that core, but we're going to pull that tummy straight. Roll the hips forward. Bringing these shoulders up nice and tall. Just sitting like this is an exercise. Relaxing with the exhale, the knees down to the floor. Let the tension fly out, the toxins fly out. Four more breaths. 3 more after this one. 2 more breaths. Spine's nice and tall. Now here we go. We're gonna roll that spine into a C shape. I'm 5'10", yeah. Slowly rolling those hips back. C shape. Slowly gonna let our head fall down towards our knees, our heels. So we're just gonna relax our spine. And if you're really flexible, you can use the mat on your elbows. Just depends on you. Happy afternoon. 2 more breaths. Hey guys, I'll chat after I'm done with these few exercises on the ground. Just wanted to open up this groin now that we opened up that lower back and hamstrings already. Okay, so we're going to put both of our legs out nice and straight. We're going to equal out our hips, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to sit back and just let that back relax before we sit up straight and then lock in that core. So here we go. We're going to sit up nice and straight. We're slowly going to push our hands behind us. And we're going to make sure our spine is nice and tall because this is stretch for most people. Just right here. So just keeping a tall spine. Using the mat. If you don't need the mat, that's totally fine. Just sitting up nice and tall is a stretch. Release the tension in the feet. Now we're going to do this 5 times. We're going to flex our knees. Boom, flex. Heels come up off the mat. 3 more. Flex and release. Flex and release. And flex and release. We're going to tuck our hands up underneath that little pit of our knee. And we're slowly just going to relax our spine. So we're just slowly going to relax into a C shape, rolling forward. Letting that hamstring, and if you feel tension in your Achilles, go ahead and flex the knee, boom, lift up the heel. Flex the knee, boom, you'll feel the tension just go away. It's just because you're putting pressure on your leg because your foot's stuck. So just flexing the knee, lifting the toes or heels off the mat will help your sitting forward fold. So we've done this a few times standing up, twice or 3 times. So we're gonna sit here for like 2 more breaths. Let that back open up. Now the goal is eventually to be able to get your elbows on the mat. That's a big goal. I can't get there quite yet. Okay, last breath. We're slowly going to sit up and we're going to take the right ankle onto that left knee. We're slowly going to let that open up. Just let that hip open up. Take a couple circles using that floor as a massage. Slowly bring that heel in towards the buttocks. Now we got a hip stretch. Here we go. A nice little pretzel move. Wherever you need the stretch, whether you have your knee way out, that kind of gets you more deeper in the hip. This gets more of the groin and tibia. I'm pretty sore everywhere actually. Lifting the toes up towards the ceiling, pushing the heels and the hand in. Great job. 3 more breaths, or 2 more breaths actually. 2's good. Last one. Thank you guys for joining me. This is one of my love languages is being healthy. So now we're gonna straighten out both legs. Actually, yeah, we're gonna straighten out both legs. Right is gonna come over the left still. And we're just gonna take our left elbow to our right knee. And a lot of people don't do this exercise quite properly. They think that they just need to turn their whole body. But honestly, it's just turning your torso. So just your shoulders. We're going to take this back shoulder towards the back wall back there behind us. And we're going to turn this front shoulder to that side wall just a little bit. And as you exhale, we're going to slowly detox breaths is when we do twists. So this is a super detox. It's going to get all of those crevices. It's going to send some energy into your organs and get some maximum absorption. So as you exhale, we have about 2 more breaths. Pull that tummy in and just exhale every bit of breath out of your lungs and say, get out of me. And slowly untwisting. Both legs on the ground. We're going to take the left ankle onto the right knee and let that hip open up. And whenever you're ready for that hip stretch, here we go. Now I'm doing a lot of the same exercises because I'm getting ready to do a strength program on YouTube. So we're gonna have 5 breaths here, just taking your time and letting that hip open up. In January 1st is a new year, 2025. I'm gonna start a 16-week strength circuit. I have been a coach a long time, and I like to focus on having the body do things that make sense. So we're gonna focus on joints and flexibility and mobility first before we start strength. I just had a baby, so there we go. We're nice and relaxed there. So now we're gonna send our back down to the mat, but as we go down, we're gonna walk down the muscles here's our spine that kind of curls into the ground like this. You don't want to grab those bony prominences. We're gonna roll on the muscle that's right along the side a few times on each side of the spine, and we're just gonna give ourselves a nice little back massage before we come flat onto the ground. So you can grab your knees however you want your feet for balance. We're gonna slowly walk down that right side. You'll feel that groin open up. We're gonna walk down along the sacrum, along the glutes, and as soon as you're ready to slowly descend, relaxing the core, walk down those muscles along the side of the spine. Using your leg for momentum, rocking back and forth, rolling onto that glute, down the sacrum and glute attach in a V shape. We're just visiting that right now. 2. Might feel slowly. 3. 4. Roll that muscle out. Last one. Here we go. Other side. Rolling onto that glute, and we're just gonna roll right down that muscle that runs along the spine. Just roll right down that muscle. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. There we go. Nice. Now we're slowly going to put our elbows down on the mat. Let our shoulders wake up. Slowly roll the spine down, laying into a flat motion. We're going to lay here for 5 rounds of breath, just being aware of how our hips feel and how our lower back feels. Sending energy into our hips as we release some major tension. We're going to bring up that left leg nice and slow, grabbing the knee, waking up that hip before we do a reverse pigeon. So go ahead and curl that knee in whenever you're ready, grabbing the shin, visiting the leg, making sure this knee stays at least in line with the shoulder somewhat, not all the way out to the elbow, but inside of the elbow, and I wouldn't say more than the inner chest, the center of chest. So we're going to keep that knee tucked underneath that armpit, and we're going to grab this ankle. So the knee's going to stay in place, but we're going to grab this ankle, the left ankle, and pull it right into the hip. And you can do that fine, but what we're going to get the stretch from is pulling on this knee. So 4 more breaths. 3. 'Last breath. Now we're slowly going to use this hip flexor. We're going to lift this bottom right leg up. We're going to take that ankle right on top of the knee. And we're going to do a lower back and hip stretch. Resting on that same muscle that's not in the middle of the spine, but right to the side. 3 more breaths. And this is the fun part. Go ahead and put your hands down on the mat. Keep that knee, leg crossed. Slowly begin to let go. Chin stays tucked to the chest. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. last one. Slowly letting that right leg come down, and then the left leg come down. Same thing, we're going to grab the back of our thigh, pulling our knee into our chest, waking up, letting that lower hip open up, pulling the knee into the armpit, into the chest, into the shoulder. Just waiting for it to wake up. Grabbing the outside of the knee with the forearm. We're going to grab the right ankle and pull it into the left hip. 4 more breaths. And go ahead and release and lift. Here we go. 5 breaths. That's pretty boring, isn't it? Can't see anything but my butt. Last breath. And then we have 5 leg lifts. So I gotta turn back this way. Here we go. So on the knee, straighten the leg. Here we go. 5. 3. 2. 1. Great job. Now we're going to put both feet on the ground, right outside of our hips, just right in front of our shoulders. Slowly going to windmill back and forth, just taking a nice little break. Letting that lower back open up. I'm going to do a lower back stretch, and then I'm going to get off here and go grocery shopping with the kiddos. The little ones. Now this is just your normal working mom who has some injuries from being a badass back in the day in the army, carrying all that shit for 5 years. Staying in shape for that was a freaking task, let me tell you what. Great job. Now we're just going to drop to one side, however your knees feel comfortable. Now we're doing a lower back stretch, so you can use this leg for extra tension wherever you want, from right knees feel comfortable. Now we're doing a lower back stretch, so you can use this leg for extra tension wherever you want, from right knees feel comfortable. Now we're doing a lower back stretch, so you can use this leg for extra tension wherever you want, from right knees feel comfortable. Now we're doing a lower back stretch, so you can use this leg for extra tension wherever